Good evening, sports fans, and welcome to another exciting episode of Camp Talk Sports. I'm your host, Cameron Gooseby, and today I'll be talking about my NFL Week 11 predictions between the Baltimore Ravens taking on the Chicago Bears. These two teams clearly have a noticeable gap between one another, one team being very good, and then the other team being very bad. With the Ravens, this team, they're off to a 6-3 record. They're looking at being playoff contenders this year. They are, they're very good defensively and offensively. They had a few big comeback wins with their quarterback in Lamar Jackson. And, they're just a good football team overall. I got no complaints about them. But coming into Sunday's game against Chicago, literally, they have a whole bunch of people on IR, or they have a whole bunch of people that's going to be out. So this is going to be an opportunity for a few of their backups to step up in place of those starting people who are out of there for today. But some people that are actually on the injury list thus far. We have people like Devin Duvernay, one of the fastest wide receivers in the league. He's going to be out with a knee. Fernell McPhee, a former Chicago Bear, he is going to be out and he's placed on IR. He also has a knee injury. Lamar Jackson, the quarterback, the leader of the team, he is actually questionable. He has an illness, and we will see what happens. I'm assuming that it's going to be a game time decision. But Lamar Jackson, if he's out for today, then that could probably wreck the Ravens' chances of winning this game. And no, I'm not going to be showing my bias side because I'm not going to let my Bears off the hook. But still, with all that being said, Brandon Williams, he's going to be out. Tavon Young, he's going to be has a questionable foot injury. Jimmy Smith has a hip and neck injury. He's a cornerback for the Ravens, who's actually one of their starting cornerbacks. So it's really it's going to be very interesting what happens today. And then also one of the other fastest wide receivers in the league, Marquise Brown, he's going to be out with an injury today, a thigh injury. But now looking at the Chicago Bears, before I go ahead and discuss last week's game, the key people who are going to be out for today, Akeem Hicks, one of the best defensive tackles in the league, he's going to be out with an ankle injury. Allen Robinson had a hamstring injury after he caught that 39-yard bomb by Justin Fields. He is out doubtful for today's game. Eddie Jackson, he's going to be out with a hamstring injury. And Damian Williams, he's also going to be doubtful with a calf injury. So these are very big names that the Bears are going to be missing for today. And also Khalil Mack, he's out for the season. He has a foot injury. Hopefully he recovers on that. And the same thing goes with Danny Trevathan. He's out for the rest of the season. So this Bears defense is going to really take a big hit. I think they're going to give up a lot of points. And I honestly don't know if they're going to make this game competitive today. But going on and looking and reacting to that Bears loss on Monday Night Football, on last Monday, it was I'll just say that it was a disaster of a game. Just to be a part of that type of referee's game, just to be a part of that, game overall, it was a complete disaster. Seeing a lot of questionable calls go the Pittsburgh Steelers' way. And once again, going off to a slow start under Matt Nagy, it's like, I feel like I've seen this before. And too bad, I've seen this before. So with that all being said, if you want to blame somebody outside of the referees, I blame Matt Nagy, because it seems like every time the Bears are fighting from behind, it's like they do not look prepared in the first half, and the next, they have to go all out in the fourth quarter, which they barely lose. So this trend has been happening ever since the 2019 season, and honestly, they're just going to go on ahead. I'm just going to go ahead and say this. By any circumstance, me as a Bears fan personally, I do not want to go to the playoffs this year. I know I sound crazy, but I do not want to go to the playoffs this year, because if we go to the playoffs this year, people are going, let's just say that people in our front office are going to say, okay, yeah, we made the playoffs this year. Why do we need to fire Matt Nagy? No, I don't want to go to the playoffs this year because I want to fire Matt Nagy. Literally, the Bears, for an example, they fired a head coach who had a 10-6 record. Like literally the year before he got fired, he had a 10-6 record with them. And yes, I'm referencing Lovie Smith here. They fired Lovie Smith in his final year as the Chicago Bears head coach with a 10-6 record. So why can't you fire Matt Nagy after what I presume, I don't know, what, a 5-13 record? I say 5-13, like what, a 5-12 record? Why can't you fire him? It makes no sense in my opinion. And with this offensive genius that we have as a head coach, ever since week 14 of the 2018 season, we have averaged 17.5 points per game. That's just not going to go ahead and get it done for the Bears, and that's not even going to get it done. Not even college ball. That's not going to get it done. So, with that all being said, I expect that Matt Nagy will face his immediate dismissal in the offseason. I expect that the Bears are going to go ahead and start something new. Get a young head coach, get somebody who knows how to call plays offensively and someone who also knows how to call plays defensively. I aim for Sean Desai to go on ahead and, still be our defensive coordinator. As far as Bill Lazor, I mean, honestly, you could get rid of him. I'm not saying he's a bad offensive coordinator, but if you really want to start this offense over, then you might as well go ahead and let Bill Lazor walk out the door with Matt Nagy as well. With Ryan Pace, with him and his questionable decision making, when it comes to going after free agents and drafting, I honestly would fire him as well. If I am the team president and Ted Phillips and George McCaskey, I would go ahead and look those two, look at the general manager and look at the head coach in the eye, and just let them go and fire them, in my opinion, because it's clear that they're not trying to win this year. It's clear that they're not trying to look into the future. And yes, although they drafted Justin Fields, Matt Nagy, literally Justin Fields' first career start, he had 150 days to get that kid ready. And the fact that he couldn't even get that kid ready, and the fact that he literally had Justin Fields drop back and take 9 sacks out of 20 passing plays. I believe it was either 20 or 25, I don't know. But to have him take 9 sacks, to have him have the bare minimum of offensive line protection with dropping back, then that proves that it's either A, Matt Nagy was ill-prepared in this game, or B, he really wanted Andy Dalton to be in there and he did not want Justin Fields to succeed. And I don't think you want a head coach, I don't think you want a leader to be Justin Fields' teacher if he's going to be calling plays like that. I've seen ridiculous play call after play call from Matt Nagy that I've been calling for his immediate dismissal ever since the end of the 2019 season. With that all being said, with the injuries that's happening to both the Bears and the Ravens, if Lamar Jackson plays today and if he plays well, considering that our best pass rusher is gone, considering that our best run stopper is gone, considering that we have no defensive backs whatsoever, honestly, this is going to be a massive loss, and it's too bad that it's going to be happening at home. And honestly, this is going to prove my point that the Bears are going to be ill-prepared. In my opinion, if Nagy, look at this, if Nagy wants to save his job, he might as well win every game, which I know he can't do. I do not want Matt Nagy to win every game. I want him to get fired. The fact of the matter is this. My final score prediction, if Lamar Jackson is not out, and the Bears defense, continue to play horrible as of late, then I don't see why this shouldn't be a easy game for Lamar Jackson. There's not going to be a lot of pressure coming up from the defensive linemen. The Bears do not have a lot of defensive backs. The only good defensive back they have is Jalen Johnson. But other than that, who else is a good defensive back on the Bears? I want you guys to tell me. Anybody? No. Thank you. Literally, I would say the Bears are going to lose by a score of 34-14. I think this is going to be an easy game for Lamar Jackson. I think it's going to be a big turnover fest for that Ravens defense. I mean, yeah, they might be missing a few players, but still, I think this is going to be a pretty easy game for the Ravens moving forward. The Ravens will up their record 7-3, while the Bears will fall to 3-7. And with that being said, if you like this video, I would like for you guys to go ahead and leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And I will see you guys later.